Well, hello folks, this is Fat Guy Flies RC. Alright, well, as you can see right in front of you and balanced perfectly is the FREEWING F18 Blue Angels Hornet. Okay, F18A I think it is, or F18C. And yeah, FA18C Hornet Blue Angels. Alright. CG is 88 millimeters back from the leading, not the leading edge, but where the wing actually touches the fuse, right there. 88 millimeters back, and if you look, there's some hard plastic doublers there. That very back corner of these hard plastic doublers on the underside on top is right where she CGs. And even if I put the gear down, very little change. Okay, she might be flying maybe slightly nose heavy or slightly tail heavy there, but I'm pleased with this CG because this gives me a nice approach, and you need to keep your fingers on the elevator anyways. So if I could maybe move that battery forward just a touch, but I'm happy with it right there. Where this is, and I'll show you in just a second, is there's two cutouts on the wooden tray, and on the wooden tray on the very back there's two cutouts where you could put a strap. Well, I've got the back of my 5000 even almost to the back of that. Now they say in the videos in the middle, so maybe if I was forward just a touch, she might be a little bit low, but she is flying, I guess maybe slightly tail heavy, but that's where I've got her right now. Let's move that battery forward just a little, just to show you how well balanced this plane is. I'll grab it on, and I'm keeping her on that balancer there. I'm going to pull this battery forward just a slight bit. We'll see. Yeah, right there, just an ever slight bit. I may have moved it a quarter of an inch. Okay. Now she's wanting to dip nose heavy on me. So I just moved just a tiny bit. So I'm going to push that battery back again, just a little bit, and then we'll find our happy medium, our happy spot. Now I'm doing my format radio rates and CG a little bit differently. I've already flown the plane. Because I started thinking about it. I said I do these radio rates and CG videos, and I tell you all these rates and how I picked to trim it all out and everything. Well, then I go out and I prove it. Well, to me, look at that. That's a little bit better. A little bit better there. Let's put the gear up, see what it does. That's pretty darn good. That's pretty darn good. Yeah. All right. We're gonna grab the camera and I'm gonna show you. Well, you know what? We'll take it off the thing, so I'm gonna bump it, I'm gonna drop it, and then there goes my plane. Well, there goes damage, anyways. All right, well anyways, what I was saying, which I know I'm terrible about starting to say something, then I don't finish it. But here's what I want to do. With these videos, instead of doing I'll do the unbox and build video first, okay? We'll do the unbox and build video first, and then I'll go out and do the maiden, film all that, and then come back and do the radio rates and setup. That way, the rates and the flap settings and everything that I would normally tell you in my radio rates and video have been proven, and then I'll present the maiden after that. Okay, so that's just how I'm going to be doing it. So I know it may seem backwards. It's just that when I show you all these rates and CG and everything, I want to know that it is right, that's proven before I say, hey, these are the rates, go fly it. No, these are the rates, I've already flown it. I know it works. But I'll show the video, the maiden of this, after this video. I know it's like backwards, but okay. Now, to show you where I put this 5,000, okay. If you look back here, you see these little cutouts where where you could put a battery strap, okay. Pay attention to the back of that battery. So 5,000, almost even with the back of those two cutouts, those two battery cutouts, okay. And then up here, this is where I've got it. So maybe an inch and a half hanging off the front of the wooden tray. So that's a 5,000 HRB. So that's where I've got that, and that gives you an idea. Now right there is a Lemon RX Gen 2 with stabilizer. It only has wind mitigation. That's all it's got. And I've got a KM model afterburner plugged in. And of course I give it a clear coat. So the only mods I've done is a clear coat and a KM model afterburner. Alright, so now we've worked out CG is 88 millimeters back. If you look on the top of the plane, see these little plastic doublers right there in that corner. Right around that corner is where she CGs perfectly. And to give you a reference point underneath the plane, and I've flown this CG too. You see this plastic, hard plastic area? Put your finger right there at that seam, right behind the seam, right at the top of that Y there. If you put your finger between that hard plastic and that Y, that's the CG point. That is the CG point. So when you're at the field, feel for that plastic, and then put your finger right behind it, you know, and she's fine right there. All right. So now we've pretty well killed the horse on the CG. 88 millimeters back, and you know where it's at. Okay, now I have installed the 7-channel Lemon RX stabilizer. Okay, and the nice thing about that stabilizer is you have to go in there and you activate. There's a whole different video on that. You activate stabilization, and I was able to check the throws, make sure that check the control surface, everything's going in the right direction. And there's a procedure if it's not going the right direction, but that's a whole different video on those Lemon RXs. But once you know everything's working right in the right direction, the 7-channel Lemon RX gives you a feature that if you have a 7th channel or an 8-channel transmitter, it'll take like a shadow channel. It doesn't require an extra plug-in on the receiver in order for you to do rates, change your gains on the fly. Okay, like right now, okay, you can hear the gyros, right? Okay, hear the gyros. Now, I can, if I'm flying along and she's starting to oscillate in the speed, the gains are too high, so I can do this roller here, and I can turn it down. Okay, they're not very strong. There's not that much correction from the gains. Now I'm going to turn them all the way up, and here you go. Very distinct. So the advantage of that is as you're flying, you know, if it's a really windy day and she's getting rocked around a lot, then you can turn your gains up a little bit. And if she's starting to oscillate, you're going really fast, and it's not that windy, she's starting to oscillate, you can turn your gains down. Okay, that's the nice thing about being able to change it on the fly. So that's that. Now let me show you how that looks in the radio, and then we'll move on to actual rates on the plane. Okay. When you set up your radio, you've already got it bound up and everything's going the right direction. Okay. You're going to go to your system setup. Okay. And when your channel assigned, see right there, aux 3. That channel will allow you to put that on whatever, a roller or a knob or whatever. That aux 3 is that shadow channel. Okay, and that's where I've got it assigned to that knob. Okay, now my aux 2 is my 7th physical channel on the plane. Okay, yeah, the plane's like, hey, you're not bound. Is my 7th physical channel, and that's my aux 2, which is my C switch. That's where my brakes are. Aux 1 is flaps, and that's automatically out. And then, of course, there's gear. Then the rest is the normal control. All right, now I'm going to show you what my flap settings are, which I've already flown the plane. It did not need any flap to elevator mix that I could tell. And this is what I've got for flaps. 100%, flaps up, no correction. With takeoff, positive 50%, no correction. And landing, a negative 20 with no correction and a 2% or a 2-second deployment. Now, let me show you on the plane what that looks like, and we'll just physically talk about the rates. I'll tell you the rates for the throws of the control surfaces. And just so you know, when I use percentages, that's because spectrum is all percentages. Everything on a spectrum is a percentage. Okay, so, and I know a lot of you guys that do FOTAB and stuff say, well, we use millimeters. You know, what is your up elevator? What is your down elevator? What's your rates in millimeters? Well, I don't know. Mine's all done in percentages. And the manual now offers a lot of these FREEWING models know that a lot of us are using spectrum, so they use percentages. All right, now the flap system, this is what the takeoff flaps look like.
Takeoff flaps.
Okay, they don't go down very much. And I'll be honest, I don't even think I even use takeoff flaps. The thing takes off so quickly you really don't even need them.
Flaps up.
Landing, however,
Landing flaps.
that's landing, and that's a negative 20%. Okay, and on the Maiden, and on the second flight, because those will be separate videos. I found she landed better just in a high alpha, not super high alpha, but kind of a high alpha type approach, and she slowed right down. I didn't have any problem stopping her without having to use. She landed better without the flaps. So, anyways, let's talk about rates for throws. Now, my high rates I have on my G switch. I picked 3 rates. Okay, this is my high rate aileron, which is 100%. With 30% expo. Okay. My mid on aileron are 90 with 30%. And then my low is 80 with 30%. Okay?
High rates.
Now let's go back to elevator. High rates on elevator is 85 with 30% expo and everything. High rate's 85. Mid rate 75. Low rate 65. Okay, and after flying the plane, I found that high rates were perfect for everything. And then the rudder, I just have it as no, I have all 3, but low rates are 80,
Mid rates.
and 100% for. I just have 2 rates, 100% and 80%. High rate rudder, low rate rudder. Okay, not that much difference. Really, honestly, rudder, I just stick it at 100% and 30% expo and leave it alone. So that's that. Now, what else can we talk about? I did need to do a little bit of up elevator trim. So, in the video or in the instructions, it tells you need to have the front of your elevator. There's a panel line here. You need to have your elevator down just a touch below that, about 7 millimeters down below that, and that's where I've got that one, and that seems to be just fine now that I've got her trimmed. Gave her a clear coat. I got the number 7 on there because that's God's perfect number, and I need all the help I can get with flying her. 5,000. What else can we talk about? Gone over rates, gone over CG. I set up reverse thrust. I already showed you reverse thrust on the C switch there. Okay.
Cruise mode.
And the ESC was perfectly calibrated. I calibrated it just for giggles, but it was fine. It really didn't need to be calibrated, but I did it just because. The plane does come with an extra EDF cover, and you'll get a kit with it. What I did with it, little baggie that's got 2 little plastic doublers in it, and you'll have some extra screws. And what that is, if you want to mount an 80 millimeter EDF unit in there, you have this ability. That's what it gives you to you. 100. She got reverse thrust. You got 100 amp ESC, or is it 100? No, it's 120 amp ESC because of the it's a 90 millimeters, 120 amp ESC. But it's a great flying plane. I was very nervous at flying her, but I'll tell you, as soon as she got off the ground, I was like, oh man. Oh, one thing you're going to have to know, you're going to notice, is in the build, when you're putting her together, these wings, there's a variance there. You look, you see that there's a dark space on either side of these screws. You can screw these wings in, and there's actually going to be a gap there. But if you loosen your screws and pull that wing in nice and tight, and then anchor them back down, then that gap will go away. So definitely, and I had that on both wings. So pay attention to that. The tail hook comes separately. You pop that into place, and it does work, and then you just put a little foam tack to hold it down. Otherwise, it's going to flop around. I'm sure guys could hook it up to a servo and try to catch something. I do have one of my antennas poking out here, and then one going straight up, and so they're at 90 degrees. I know it's look ugly, but I'd rather have a little bit of ugliness and not have to worry about signal loss. So that's just that. It's just too nice of a plane to let go. Well, any plane's expensive. The nose cone is just magnetically hold on, and she flies. These LEDs are absolutely super bright, and of course the afterburner helps even more. The gear are sequenced. They do take some time going up and down, so you need to pay attention to that. Think about that when you're taking off and landing. Close up nice and clean. And what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, you have antenna here, here, here that have to be glued in. Okay. And then you have an antenna here, here that'll be glued in, and then you've got these 2 vertical or dorsal fins. Now, I was watching James put it together on the thing, and he had the dark blue is what showed out, but I think I got it wrong. I think the yellow decal that's actually needs to be facing out, but I put it on the way he was putting it on. So the missile pylons, they screw in, and they are hard. These are not they have some foam, but they're mostly hard plastic. I mean, these things are substantial. Okay, and you can of course add a missile to that if you wanted to. Great suspension. I noticed no bounce. Now, because she's narrow, I did kind of drop a wing a little bit on landing, and may have scuffed this a little bit. But she got a very narrow gear, so it's very, very important that when you come in that you land perfectly level, because otherwise she's going to rock one way or the other, as you'll see in the Maiden. I set the initial timer for 3 minutes on the Maiden, and because I was doing this, basically the Maidens are kind of boring because all you're doing is really just flying around, trimming her out and everything. You're not really doing anything, no speed runs or anything. You're just kind of getting her trimmed out. And she needed a little bit of up elevator, and she needed a little bit of right aileron. And that's even though she was bench trim. You know, I've said many times, bench trim is different than actual flight trim. You get her bench trim, get her as trim as everything's nice and even with each other on the bench. That's bench trim, but then you'll tell the real tell will be when you fly her. Then you'll know how much trim she really needs. And she needs a little bit of up elevator and a little bit of right trim for me. Okay? Yours may be different. But I was very, very put at ease. As soon as I got her in the air, I realized, oh, she's not squirrely, she's straight, she's locked in, and she's a joy to fly. She's an absolute joy to fly. All right, well, folks, that's the radio rates and CG setup video. It's a post-Maiden, but I wanted to be able to prove my rates and everything that they are proven and they work fine. So next will be the Maiden video, so watch that. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, and I think I might just put these two together. Just put the Maiden. How do y'all think? Well, how you gonna do it? Tell me in the comments if you want me to do it this way. Go ahead and I'll fly it, and that way I know, and then I'll do the rates, radio, and CG video, and I'll put the Maiden afterwards. That way, the Maiden is proven, is what I've told you. And so, stay tuned. We'll watch the Maiden next. Bye bye. Oh, and by the way, the second flight is even better. It's awesome. Hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the Avon Park Air Modelers Club. We're going to be taking up doing the maiden flight on the FREEWING 90mm F-18C Hornet. All right. Put it together last night. You would have watched my unboxing video, and then when I get back, I'll do a rates and radio video on it, and then I'll do the present the maiden. But I'm nervous, very nervous. This is, I think, my fourth or fifth 90mm, and it's an F-18, and it's gorgeous. I put a clear coat. I got the KM model afterburner in her, running a 5000 HRB in her. So I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes, just to, not going to be doing much of anything, just flying around, trimming her out. Really, maiden, if you think about it, really maiden flights are boring, because the whole point is just to see how she's flying, not do anything crazy. Now the second flight, you know, that should be different. We're going to take off in my mid rates. You know what? We're going to take off in high rates right off the bat, just so I can see what she does. And that's 100% on the ailerons, 80% on the elevator, and 100% on the rudder, with 30% all the way around. Okay. Now I'll probably end up flying in mid rates, probably what I like, but I want to see how she reacts in high. All right. Get her turned around here. We're going to go down the other end, take off from that direction. You know what? No, we're going to take off from this direction, because we're going to land from that way. What little wind we have is coming out of the east. So and we have no wind at all. So, and she's got
braking.
Thrust reverse.
Cruise mode.
All right. Actually, I'm going to stay out here, because when I'm maiden a plane, I got to be closer to it. All right, right, left, up, down, right, left. Okay, here we go. Whew. Shake off these nerves. It's a maiden. Naturally be.
Gear up, flaps up.
Oh man. Needs a little bit of down elevator. Looks like a little bit of right aileron maybe. I'm gonna get out of this turn here. Oh, what a sweet flying jet!
Retract down. Landing flaps.
All right, wind has shifted. We'll have to land for the other direction.
Time remaining 1.
And I know
Landing flaps.
oh.
Braking. Cruise mode.
Okay, she's down.
Flaps up.
Check the battery. Still got 42 seconds, but I want to see if I've got enough for one more takeoff and landing. Just running a Lemon RX 7-channel with stabilizers, so it just got wind mitigations, all it's got. And I didn't notice anything as far as wing rock or, I mean, she's okay, 26%. So one takeoff and one landing. So that's all I'm going to do for now. But for a maiden, this is one great jet. One great jet. Okay, let me come over there to you. Yeah, we'll definitely. And high rates was fine. High rates were just fine.
Prop secured.
All right. The only thing I did notice, I did need one thing I said, a little bit of right aileron, just a few clicks of right aileron, and I needed, I think it was, let me look. Need a little bit of up elevator, is what I needed, if I remember right. So, all right. Okay. Man, what a great flying jet. Great flying jet. Okay, let's go over the, of course I got the KM model afterburner in there. Now, people give me grief about my afterburner staying on. I have it set the lowest settings to where it just, this would be like idle, it's just barely on just so I can see the light. It doesn't really hardly generate any heat right now. But that's the way I have it. So I know you're supposed to calibrate it and they only come on at the, like at 15 or 20% throttle or higher throttle. But this is the setup. This is the 5000. Now I've got the 7-channel Lemon RX kind of wedged between the blue box and the battery. The battery just barely touching it. And all the sites say put the battery right in the middle or towards the end of the battery cutouts there, where you see them straight down, these little cutouts there. And so that's where I put the battery, and she CG's just perfect. I got one antenna poking out the side and going down. I got one going straight up here, just for 90 degrees. CG is right there on those the corners of these two. I want to say it's 85 millimeters back, I think, if I remember right. Right there at the corner on those little black marks there. I've given her clear coat, but let's show you the CG. CG is pretty good right there. And CG with this plane is very important. But she's pretty good, maybe slightly nose heavy, but that's good for a maiden. So, all right, well folks, there you go. That is the 90 millimeter Blue Angels F18A, F18C Hornet. And Blue Angels, great flying plane. Oh man, and I got the number 7 on there because that's God's perfect number, and I need all the help I can get. All right folks, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless y'all, and don't forget, faith, family, and friends, and then Hornets. Bye bye.